The primary tactic that we're going to take is to barricade.
Personal Defense Network was started originally in 2005 as a DVD series, an educational DVD series for people who are interested in having and carrying and or staging firearms for personal defense, for defense of their family, and ultimately for defense of their way of life.
One of the toughest parts about using a defensive firearm in public is going to be target identification, making sure that we have properly identified the threat or even found the threat in a confusing environment like this.
And eventually we found out really quickly that the best thing we could possibly do was offer people not just my personal perspective or expertise in some areas, but really to gather subject matter experts from the full breadth and width of personal defense. And we brought all this information to people through DVDs, and of course, nobody really even uses DVDs anymore. So at some point, we realized we needed to transition to a streaming platform, an online platform with membership opportunities, with online classes. In 2012, we started the Personal Defense Network Training Tour. And what that allowed me and other contributors to Personal Defense Network to do, it was to reach the PDN audience saying, we teach these classes for real, right? We bring people to ranges, we meet people in classrooms, and we get out in the field and we do this stuff hands-on. So if somebody comes to a class, they're going to hear about safety, comfort, and competency as the three underlying principles. Safety, we look at as balancing risk and benefit. There's a reason that you have a gun in your home in the first place. That is the goal probably for most people of being prepared to deal with a threat. That means that you have a risk, right? That risk is that the gun is tampered with, somebody who doesn't know how to use it gets their hands on it, somebody steals the gun and uses it maliciously. That means you have to take the safety step, and that safety step is at the basic level is just preventing unauthorized access to the gun. And balancing those things out is part of responsible firearms ownership, and it's also obviously part of our training and education. The Vaultek product fills a couple of niches for me personally, right? When I'm teaching classes, obviously I'm traveling around a lot, so it's a great way for me to travel with the guns. If I'm bringing one gun, my carry gun, it's probably a life pod. If I'm bringing class demo guns or a couple of different guns, I'm probably going to use something like the Vaultek 20 series. The nice thing about that is I also use that for a demo in our armed home defense class.
And the quick access safe is the other piece of the magic of why I think it's changed, right? In 1988, this thing didn't exist. It didn't even exist conceptually.
People come to class and they want to experience this, and maybe they're skeptical, maybe they have a different type of safe, maybe they don't have a quick access safe, but I want them to experience, and they're, I think, very curious about it.
This is a 20 series, and the 20 series has also buttons and biometric. You can actually take a heavy cable that comes in here and secure it in that little spot. There's one for the life pod too, and you can secure that around like your plumbing. You can put an anchor in your wall.
The skeptical people will admit very readily afterwards, that really, with as little practice as they get in the class, they totally see how, like any other skill, they could develop it to a level where they could, with confidence, have their gun, not just on the nightstand or not just in a drawer or up on top of the refrigerator, but really protected from negligent access and yet very accessible when they need it. The gun is safer together with the Vaultek. The gun is there to make me safe or protect my daughter in a worst case scenario. But if I step out of the room, what makes it okay to have the gun in the house with my daughter, loaded and ready to go, is that safe.